So today we're testing these poly gel glue forms. I've always seen people use these and they make it look so easy. So I was like, okay, let's see if they're actually beginner friendly or if it's just TikTok magic. I purchased both of these on Temu. I'm gonna add the links in so that you guys can test them out if you want to. The first one that we're looking at is the coffin sandwich forms. I am struggling so hard to pick these out. They come like jam-packed together. Their sizes basically 0 to 9, which is pretty cool. So I imagine there's a size in here for everyone. But for today's video, I'm actually not going to be using the coffin ones. I'm going to be using these. I picked out these almond dual forms because they're Russian almond, which are completely different from the ones that I've gotten in free kits with polygel. They're sturdier and have more of a C-curve, so I feel like the nails will come out a whole lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my sizes. Remember to always size up if the sidewalls are not touching. So the polygel that I'm using is nothing too expensive. It comes from a kit from a hoo-hoo, and inside of my dapping dish I just have 70% isopropyl alcohol that I'm using as my slip solution. And I'm going to go ahead and basically pat in all of the polygel, making sure that it reaches all the way to the sidewalls, because if not, you're going to be missing product there, which means that you're going to compromise the strength of the nail. And this is looking pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the polygel to my nail. I pushed down a bit too hard, so I went ahead and wiped it up. And I also fast forwarded so you guys can see it already fully cured. And once again, I'm just using 70% isopropyl alcohol to wipe off the tacky layer from the nails. I'm doing the top and the bottom side. And here I'm just going to clean up the bottom. This is probably the main reason why I never really liked dual forms, is that a lip tends to form on the bottom. Even though I pushed it back in and compacted it, it still had overflow. I know it's probably weird that I'm doing like the full process on the one finger first, but I really wanted to test out the dual form before I even decided to go ahead and do all 5 fingers to see how it would result, like how it would come out. So I started with the thumb, and then we're going to go in and do all of the rest of my fingers. And I know I kind of disappeared for a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Life has just been busy. Something super exciting that recently happened to me. I am back in school officially, and I am taking the esthetician program, which is pretty freaking cool. Also, life has just been lifing. Between taking clients and going to school and doing things like that, I can't complain. I've been pretty busy, but it's also really amazing. So for these fingers, it's the same exact process as with my thumb. I'm going to go ahead, apply the polygel, dip my brush in isopropyl alcohol, and pat, 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 making sure that I get the product all the way to the sidewalls to make sure that they are structurally sound. And once I'm satisfied, I'll go ahead and press them into my finger, bring them into the light. I wish I had a flash cure light at home, but I don't. Oh, and here you can also see me cleaning up the edges, which is great. You always want to do that so that you have less cleanup to do with your drill, and so that your product doesn't just move on you. So my initial thoughts are, I feel like the nails are pretty hard. They're structurally sound. I didn't have any problems with the poly gel curing at all, which was surprising for me. I feel like there is a tendency for, if you use a lot of poly gel, it won't cure in the middle. That didn't happen, which is really good. Now let's talk about timing. This did take me about an hour and 40 minutes to do my one hand. That also has to do with the fact that I did my thumbs separately, so that did add on additional time. So I feel like if I take the 40-ish minutes that I worked on my thumb and kind of just would have done all 5 fingers, it would have been a bit faster. Do I think it's faster than applying acrylic? It could be. Depending on if you're new to acrylic application, I feel like the learning curve is a lot harder than just using poly gel with dual forms or poly gel with tips. You don't have to wait for the polymerization of the acrylic. Learning basically liquid to powder ratio before you get started doing your nails, you can get pretty good, almost perfect nails in your first couple of tries if you just go with polygel and dual forms or polygel and tips. So would I recommend this product? Absolutely. I think that it's a great, I guess, quote unquote hack to getting started in nails, especially if you don't like the feeling of Gel X or full cover tips. Is definitely a great alternative to having that feeling of acrylic without it actually being as tedious as learning how to use acrylic. This is where we're at right now. I do feel like I overfouled it just a little bit, so I'm going to go in and apply a little bit more polygel over the top to fill in the spots that I feel like are probably too see-through or could use a little bit more product. And if you're still here and watching, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting my channel. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below. I made it. And if you're new to the channel, definitely think about subscribing. This is basically a channel where I upload things like nail art, tutorials, everything kind of related to nails and things like that. Now with my new schedule, I'm working towards finding the correct balance as far as making videos and uploading them on time for my channel. And I still have a ton of great content ideas, I just haven't come across the time to really just execute them. But I feel like I'm getting there. I feel like this is so realistic. I have moments where I truly just struggle. Like, I just want to get it with the brush to make my life easier, but instead it just makes everything so much more complicated. But I don't want to exclude it so that you guys can see that, you know, real life things happen. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to. But in the end, I finally got the polygel on there, which is good. And if you haven't noticed by now, you'll probably now know, since we're reaching closer to the end of the video, that there is no actual nail art in this video. The sole purpose of this video is to basically unbox my jewel forms and test them out, see how I like them, and give you guys like an honest review of if you should or shouldn't, you know, invest in jewel forms and invest in polygel for yourselves at home. I feel like the startup price for polygel is probably going to be lower than starting with acrylic. I feel like there are a lot of kits for polygel that include pretty much everything that you need in one. so that you can get started pretty much immediately with it, versus with acrylic you're gonna have to, you know, buy the colors that you want to get monomer, and or probably invest in gel polish depending on what it is that you want to do. So it's a good alternative if what you're looking for is simple and, you know, one color nails, shaping that you like. You can definitely get started with polygel for a lot cheaper. So while I top coat these nails, I'll kind of give you guys my final thoughts on the whole thing. I actually really like these. Pros, I do believe it's going to be faster, it's going to be easier to shape because polygel is not as hard as acrylic. It is beginner friendly. Cons, you do have to be aware, you know, like of the product, how it moves, how it's curing, and make sure that it's curing entirely. I think that that's something that you kind of get overall. Like, I'm not an expert, so it's gonna take me time as well to get used to it. But overall, I would recommend it. I am gonna link the dual forms down below. I'm gonna link the polygel that I used as well. And I'll also make some other brand recommendations for you guys. And here is the final result for you guys. I think they came out super duper pretty and super cute. I feel like they look really natural. I do like this kind of wider almonds kind of shape, even though I did bring them in a little bit from how they originally looked, just so that they can match my fingers more and make my fingers look more slender. But the structure overall is really good, and I'm loving the way that they look.